Hi, and welcome into Rebecca K Crochet. Today we're going to work on holding 2 yarns together. This is a little bit more advanced technique than a beginner, but you can do it as a beginner to create a thicker yarn. So what we do is we get our 2 skeins of yarn, which I have just an orange and a purple, and you make your slip knot as if this was one piece of yarn, like so. I have an extremely large hook here. This is I don't even know how big. It is a Q. It says size Q, or a 15 millimeter hook. And what I do is I just hold the 2 together like so and start our chain. You want to chain this loosely, and it creates a great big fabric. And it's just like holding the amigurumi yarn if you're used to working with the big thick blanket yarns. It's kind of the same thing, only you don't have that blanket yarn. And then you can go back and do from the second chain. There's your first chain, there's your second chain. From the hook, you can go back and do like the moss stitch or whatever stitch you want to do. We'll just do some single crochets back across to create the foundation. And you want to make sure whenever you're getting that you go through both of those loops, and that's what makes it difficult, because you may want to just go through under one loop, but the 2 colors are one yarn whenever you do it this way. So you want to make sure that you're going through, you have 2 loops that you go back through. And I'll show you a blanket. I've got a blanket started in the moss stitch, and how I do that one is I hold a light and a dark together so that you can see it. But you, like this one, I have to make sure that I'm going through that orange and the purple. And I have both of those on my hook. And I go back through. Now we'll chain 2, we'll do a half double crochet. Yarn over, go through the first loop on our hook, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. That's your half double crochet. Let me get some more yarn out here. Yarn over, go underneath. When you go underneath and you've got the 2, you want to make sure that there's 4 loops. I'll show you that, hang on. And go through all 3. And you don't want to get those tangled, and that's why you always end up with 2 loops on your hook. But when you go through this right here, you want to go through that point, and you want to make sure that you go under these 2 and these 2. So there's 4 on there. There's an orange and purple, and an orange and a purple. That's why this is a little bit more advanced, but I had somebody asking about how to hold 2 yarns together, and this is how you do it. And I'll show you my blanket, hold on. Okay, so this is the fabric that the moss stitch creates when you're doing a blanket, and this is just a scrap blanket that I've just used 2 different scrap yarns held together with this crochet hook, with the size 15 millimeter crochet hook. And it's a nice stretchy fabric. It's pretty dense fabric. Your toes can poke through, but they don't normally, because it's a denser fabric. And so I'm gonna just let you sit and watch me crochet for just a little bit. Okay, I had a knot there, I had to get out. I'm going to go back and finish off the end of this row. Again, this is the moss stitch where I'm just single crochet, chain 1, and single crochet in the chain 1 space of the previous row. And I'm holding the 2 yarns together. To create a different effect on the moss stitch. I know this may be a little bit difficult to see. I just wanted you guys to see that you can do 2 held together with a blanket. I do this a lot when I have too much scrap yarn. And I just, the way I roll my cakes is it just changes whenever I run out of that yarn. The colors change when I run out of that yarn, or if I feel like it's going to be too long of a color splotch, I will cut it and do it again later in the blanket. But I usually hold a dark and a light together. I think that makes the best effect on these blankets. This one gray yarn is driving me crazy. It just wants to tangle all the time. I'm at the end of the row here in just a second. And how you do the moss stitch at the end of the row is, and I show this in a tutorial, but this blanket changes differently every time, every row, is you chain 1 and there's my stitch. So I jump over that stitch and I go right straight into the end stitch. And to start this round, this next round, I will chain 1, turn my work, and because I have a stitch here and a chain 1 space, I will go into this space with not a space, but that stitch with a single crochet, because I always start out my rows with single crochet, and because this is a chain 1 space, I go right back into the next space with a single crochet. If it was a single crochet, I would chain 1 and skip over it. And now we chain 1 and skip that single crochet right there and go into this space. And that's the moss stitch. I know this is a short tutorial, but I hope that you enjoyed it. And again, here's my blanket. That's what my blanket looks like. It's just stripes of different colors. And I do not know what color is going to be held with what. And that's what I like about this, is I can hold pink and yellow together down here, and the pink goes with the red, and then yellow and blue, and it just goes up and it just stripes all the way up like that. And see, there's that knot that I've been dealing with the whole time. It just wants to drive me crazy. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye for now.